Welcome to She Coaches Coaches. I'm your host, Candy Motzek, and I'm going to help you find the clarity, confidence, and courage to become the coach that you are meant to be. If you're a new coach, or if you've always wanted to be a life coach, then this is the place for you. We're going to talk all about mindset and strategies and how to, because step by step only works when you have the clarity, courage, and confidence to take action. Let's get started. Thank you for agreeing to be a laser coaching client. What would you like to be coached on today, Anna?
Oh, Candy, I'm so glad you asked me this question. As an emerging coach, I would love to know how, using my story and my experience, do I take my clients from A to B and make this transformation completed? How do I help them to transform? Not just inspire them, but transform.
What does transform mean?
It's when they feel empowered and inspired, and they actually do these first steps. So how do I build the bridge for them? Not just being wanted to do something, but actually doing these changes, this transformation.
So you've got two thoughts that are happening here. The one is how to build the bridge that then you can guide them on.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other is how to get them to keep moving. Which path is the more important one for you right now?
Probably how do I build the bridge?
Okay. So if you think of a bridge, it's on land on one side and it goes to land on the other side. And then it has this span that often goes across water. What's the first place? Like what's the on-ramp look like for the people?
It's probably the place where they start. They are right now. They have their challenges they want to overcome, but they don't know how. But they have an idea where they want to be. They have an idea what sort of person they want to be, what sort of relationship they want to have, or work or wealth, but they just don't know how to get there. So how do I help them to build this bridge?
Yeah. So where they are right now is a place of pain.
Yes.
Essentially, right? And where they want to be is that version of themselves where that particular pain is solved.
Mm-hmm.
And so the place that you might want to start looking at is identifying what exactly is that discomfort that they want solved. And is that discomfort strong enough to get them into motion? So that would be the first place that I would look, is like, what's bugging them? And then, so the discomfort has to be strong enough for them to take action, hire you. Where they want to go, where that dream is, it has to be compelling enough. It has to pull them, right? It can't just be, I hate my job, I hate my life.
Mm-hmm.
That we never move from that place of like just a place of meh. We never move. It has to be, I can't stay like this anymore. I'm not willing to stay like this. So the discomfort has to be strong enough to get them in motion. And then the dream has to be strong enough to pull them. So that's the place you start. Helping them see how much discomfort they're in, how much pain they're in right now, and help them feel the discomfort. And the feeling of the discomfort might be so much as like, what's your life going to be like in 5 years if you stay here?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
mm-hmm.
What's your relationship with your wife or your husband or your partner or your children going to be like if you stay in this place of misery?
That's a good question.
Right. So how can you help them to see, not by making not by sensationalizing their discomfort, but help them to really see the real discomfort that they're experiencing, And then what's possible for you? What would life be like in that place? So that's your first place. You want a strong foundation, a strong on-ramp, and then you want a strong off-ramp too. Like they want to go to that tropical island where the warm sun is shining and there's just light breezes, there's no tidal waves, they want to go there. And so what is that dream? And again, to help them really see that dream, right? So talk to me about the on-ramp and the off-ramp. What does that look like now for you, now that you're thinking in that way?
Now, when people have a clear understanding where they are standing now, what they feel, there is a clear understanding what is going to be, how their life is going to look like if they won't take this step, if they won't cross this bridge, and to understand the whole picture of their pain. And on another side, they finally have a clear vision of what their life will look like if they make this step. That's what they were dreaming about. And it's probably, I see what you're saying. It's brilliant. It's really brilliant, because not many people even think what they want to do in the 5 years time, or in a 10 years time, or how they want their life to be. They're getting so caught up in the small things that it's really wonderful to help them to understand what is the bigger picture, what is happening now, and what can happen if you take these steps. I love it.
So now your next job is you know how they're going to basically get in your car, right? Your coaching practice, your coaching program with them is they're going to get into your car. Is it what's the car like? Is it a minivan? Is it a convertible? Is it a Rolls Royce? Is it a Lamborghini? Like, what is that car, right? So they're going to get in. Are they in the passenger seat beside you, or are they driving, right? So now you're going to get that in your head about, they're getting in my car. What kind of a car do I have? So what kind of a car does it look like?
First thing comes into my head. It would be probably a big truck. And my clients would definitely drive it.
Okay. So where are you in the truck? And what kind of truck is it?
It's a good question.
First one that pops into your head. I don't want you to question yourself. What did you see when you said it's a big truck?
It's a 4-wheel drive, probably Porsche Cayenne.
Okay. Excellent. Okay, great. What color is it?
Dark. It's a dark blue.
All right. So they get in the driver's seat. And where are you?
I'm next to the driver's seat.
Your passenger.
On the passenger seat.
Okay. Do you have your seatbelt on?
Not.
Should you have your seatbelt on?
I probably no. I definitely should put my seatbelt on, because the speed we're gonna take off with is going to be big.
Okay, so they got into the Porsche Cayenne, dark blue. They hop into the driver's seat, close that door. They've got their seatbelt on. You're in the passenger seat. You've got your seatbelt on. Now what? What happens?
Well, if they don't know how to drive the Porsche, I probably have to explain to them to put their head, like how to switch on the car, how to start the car, how to drive. I don't know, how to accelerate the speed.
Right. So that's the beginning of your program. That's the beginning of how you help them get the transformation. So you help them learn where the dials are, how to turn it on, how responsive it is, whether they need to put gas in the tank. Right? So what does that look like for your program? I mean, this is just like, yes, it's all pretend and in our imagination, but then take that and put that into, what would that be like talking to people?
Hmm. It's probably trying to get into basic stuff, probably working with mindset, with negative self-talk, helping them to believe that they can do this, that they're worthy, trying to show them the first steps, what I've done. Because yeah, I'm just thinking, relying on my experience, I know what steps I've taken to start my healing journey. It took me many years, but yeah, I now I can speed up this process for my clients, just putting them on the right path, on the right way.
So with the beginning steps, so just paraphrasing what you said, just so that it gives you something more to think about. They get in, so they chose to get in. You didn't push them into the truck. They chose to get in. They closed the door and now they're looking at you and you're the guide. And so the place that you start is the basics. You use the basics that you already know. And the first thing that you said was mindset, and very specifically how they speak to themselves and how they can cultivate that belief that they are worth it and that they can do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're already on that on-ramp. You're already on that bridge. What's here now? What's the next thing? You've given them the basics. You want them to drive. You got your seatbelt on, which is a darn good thing, I must add. What's the trip like?
Probably using my knowledge and my experience, I will help them to get over the fear of driving if this is the first time. And make this journey being more fun and more exciting, because it doesn't need to be very scary or very hard or difficult. No, it's like probably me holding their hand while they're driving, or helping to steer their wheel in the right direction. It's probably showing them the next step, what I've taken to get to the point. Am I just rambling something, making
No,
it
you're
up?
good. You're good. This is part of the creative process. This is like, we know that it's a creative process, and that any way that you create this method for them to get from one side to the other, every way that you create is going to work. But what's the way that you want to create? What do you decide is right? So you have this starting point. You know where they are. You've helped them really see that. They know where they're going. Now they've got the basics. They're still driving. At any point, just think about a car, right? At any point, you could just stop in the middle of traffic and get out and go, I'm out of here, right? So what you're doing is making it fun and easier than they might have thought, and maybe not as scary as they thought. So they stay in the car, they stay driving. What kind of music would you have playing?
A very, very motivational. We are the champions. We are the champions.
Yeah. Okay.
Something like that. Yeah, and something encouraging to make the next step, the next baby step, or take a massive action. Maybe accelerate the speed a little bit.
Yeah, and I noticed that you've got this thing where you want them to experience it fast, right?
Yes.
And that is possible, and it may be part of your process. It may also be part of your offering. Like, that might be one of the things that draws them to you. How do you serve them on their time, not your time? So what I mean by that is, sometimes we coach people and we know they could do this and we know it could be fast, but you know what? They took their foot off the gas and it's slow. And there you are with your motivational Queen music playing, and you're tapping your foot like, come on, this is supposed to be fun. And you're, like, let's go, let's go, let's go. That's your speed. How do you allow them to feel comfortable at their speed? That's a big deal.
You know what? You just made me think, actually. It's not about healing fast. It's not about going to the point B very fast. It's about shortening the time they can get, and it depends. It depends on my client. What I'm trying to say, it took me 20 years to get to this point. So what I'm trying to do for my clients is to provide them with all the knowledge, with all the support, so they can speed up the process for themselves and make it more effortlessly and more fun and more exciting. And answering your question, if they just take their foot off the gas, that's a really good question. I think I will be just here holding their hand and asking them questions. What's happening in your mind? What's on your way? How can I help you? How can I provide this support to help you to make the next step?
So in that, I hear a component of holding the space for them,
Mm-hmm.
honoring them, respecting that this is their path. And I also really like this, what you're saying about, it's not about speed so much, it's about optimization, hence world's best life optimization coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's about, you can reduce the number of places that they have to hop around finding a solution. You can provide that safe space for them so they can go the speed they want with the least amount of friction, grease the wheels, as it were, right? And, as you were talking, I had this idea that for some of your clients, like when we talked about the bridge at the beginning, and we're just about done with the coaching, but I want to leave you with this mental picture.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about the bridge, about the on-ramp, and they got in the car and all of that. And then where they're going so strongly, to have that where they're heading to be that compelling force. And then I had this idea that it was kind of like those bridges that you see. I think it's in Scandinavia, where they get on one bridge and you go from one island to the next island, then you drive over that island, and then it hops all the way along. And some of the spans are very long and some of them are very short, but every island is different. And they could spend quite a bit of time enjoying that island before they make it to the next one. So there's just something, I don't know what it is, but there's something there about that visual of the view can be wonderful from whether you're on the bridge, whether you're in the great car with leather and, love that lovely scent, whether you're, on, in the fast lane or in a slower lane, or whether you've made it to the first island and you still have longer to go. So that would be my closing question. How to help them appreciate the view wherever they are?
It's probably, I love your analogy, by the way. It just before I answer your question, it reminds me that not many people can jump from one point to another straight away. It's for some people it can be an overwhelming journey. So to break this way on a few different ways, like a baby steps, it's a really, really brilliant and amazing point. Thank you, Candy. And still reminding people what is their why and what's exciting for them. But how to make them enjoy each island is to teach them how to be present right here, right now. Because what's happening right now in this moment, that's a life. That's a magic. It's a gift. That's why it's called present. Right now, look at it. Look around yourself. You see beautiful trees, beautiful sky, or maybe you can see the beach and the ocean, or maybe you can see the beautiful buildings. Whatever you enjoy, just stop and enjoy. That's where the magic happening. That's where the present, the gift of our life.
Okay. So to wrap it up, we've talked about a lot of things. What's the one action that you will take as a result of this conversation? What will you do because of this conversation?
I'm getting clear about my strategy and about my plan. The action what I want to take is to just start thinking about what steps I took to get me in this place. What were the most challenging moments so I can be prepared for my clients, and what were the most easier and effortless and fun moments that I went through, and what was my why. So just to stick to this. Yeah, it's about building my strategy.
You're going to think about that, but how will you capture it? So I'm like, right now, what we're bringing it down to is, okay, we're going to actually do something that makes use of what the new insight that you have. What will you do? Is it like, will you record yourself? Will you do videos of yourself? Will you write notes? Will you create some kind of a diagram? Will you paint? What would you do?
I'm gonna write my notes, and I'm gonna make a board where I'm probably gonna paint those bridges with islands
Good.
step by step. And also I'm gonna use it in my podcasts as well.
Well done.
People.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks again for listening today. Please hop on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a review. Also, I would love to hear from you. Did something that I say resonate? What else would you like to learn about? Click the link in the player and leave a comment on the post. This is going to give me great ideas for future episodes so I can help you best. Join me again next week for more coaching, support, and teaching to help you become the confident coach you are meant to be.